All right, guys, we just finished up our muscle up series, and the next thing that we're moving into is going to be handstand push-ups and handstand walking series. So the first thing that I want to cover is what I would say are the basics. So the things that you need to have pre-qualifications before moving into or starting to execute handstand push-ups, whether it be strict or kipping. So the first thing that I want to start with is the headstand. So headstand, it's a great movement to start getting people comfortable with being upside down. It gives you 3 points of contact with the ground versus 2 points. One of the greatest things about it, moving into skill transfer for handstand push-ups, is it teaches you the placement, the perfect placement for your handstand push-up. It also teaches you how to weight bear in your arms and not have all of the load on your head. It's also great for core strength and stability, great for body awareness. So a couple of things. So let's talk about first the setup for this. So the setup of your headstand is also the setup that's going to be at the bottom of your handstand push-up position. All right, so things you want to think about. You want to build a perfect triangle between your head and your hands. You always want to have your hands wide. Okay, so here I'm going to take my hands just slightly in front of the ab mat, and I'm going to place my head directly in the middle of the ab mat, and I'm going to make sure that the weight is not on my forehead, not on the back of my head, but directly on top of my head. Okay, so here, so that's your tripod, your perfect tripod position. Notice that my weight, when I do this, weight's in the palm of my hands. My wrist is stacked over my palm. My elbow is stacked on top of my wrist. Okay, this is going to give you the strongest position to be in to support your body weight, but then when you start moving into handstand push-ups, which we'll talk about later, that drive out of the bottom. Okay, so again, finding that perfect position, then ways to get comfortable with the movement is to kind of play around with different positions. I've talked about this before with headstands, going through different positions such as a tuck, a pike, straddle, right leg split, left leg split. This is great, and it'll transfer eventually into handstand walking when you have to start figuring out that body awareness and moving around with your hands and finding kind of your brake pedal and your go pedal on your hands. So what some of those positions look like. Okay, here this would be your tuck. You can go into a pike, you can go into a straddle. This would be your standard headstand. Left leg splits, right leg split. So being able to move through those different positions pretty easily will start to help you develop that core strength, stability, and again, body awareness. Second thing for handstand push-ups, handstand walking, kind of the basics, the first thing that's going to be is the kick up. So your kick up to the wall. This is also a skill transfer for when you start moving your handstands, handstand walking to the floor without the wall. So the kick up to the wall should be graceful. Okay, there should be no crashing. You're not violently trying to take the wall down. It should be a nice, easy kick up with control. Okay, so this is your standard kick up. Place your hands here and hold. Okay. In that position, okay, hands should be just right outside the shoulders. You don't want them too wide, you don't want them too narrow. And then being able to hold that position for an extended period of time builds, again, shoulder strength, shoulder stability. So you should be able to hold a handstand in the wall for, I'd say, at least a good 30 seconds, okay? With control, staying feet together, nice and tight. Something you can also practice a little bit more difficult would be a wall walk and working nose to toes on the wall, okay? So what that's gonna look like, so it's that hollow body position against the wall, okay? So when you kick up, you wanna get as close to the wall as you possibly can, with only your nose and your toes touching the wall. Do that for about 30 seconds. You'll really start to feel a burn in that shoulders and your core. Next one that we're moving into is push-ups. So push-ups might be the most important. Being able to do a push-up properly, mechanically well, and being able to do, I'd say, at least 10 good push-ups unbroken before you start to really think about doing handstand push-ups on the wall. Okay, so again, quickly looking at the standards for the push-up. Feet together, okay? Feet together, hands spread apart. Again, same thing, hands here, just right outside the shoulders. Notice that I'm a perfect alignment of my shoulders, my hips, knees, and toes. From here, I move as one unit, okay? So I'm gonna externally rotate, creating that tension. I'm gonna drive chest to the ground. Chest and hips move at the same time, and then as I come up off the ground, my chest and my hips lift together. So chest and hips always moving together as one unit. Nice, strong plank. So being able to execute 10 of those without, stopping unbroken before moving into handstand push-ups. And last but not least, probably the most important, are negative handstands. Okay, negative handstand push-ups without the push-up. So being able to kick up to the wall, lower yourself into that tripod position, and being able to do that without crashing onto your head and neck. So this is more, one, it's body control, strength, but the biggest and most important is that it's about safety. Okay, so being able to kick up to the wall and lower yourself with control into your tripod position. Okay, so those are pretty much the basics for moving into handstand push-ups. So nailing those down, that's going to be the most important. Next time in the series, we'll actually break down the handstand push-ups, the movement, how to execute, how to become efficient. Also talking about training reps versus competition reps, how to move faster if you're trying to train for a competition. And then after the handstand push-ups, we will move into handstand walking. So if you have any questions, guys, feel free to email me, jessica@carhustrength.com. Check out our YouTube page with all of our videos. We have some more in-depth videos with headstands. We have a whole inversion series. So check that out. But for now, practice, focus on the basics, and we'll hit you up with handstand push-ups next week.